Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Showbiz Kids. It's a documentary on HBO directed by Alex Winter. You might know him as he's Bill from the Bill and Ted series. In fact, the third one is going to be released very soon. It was announced today on VOD, so looking forward to that. But he's also not just an actor, but he's also mostly been a director, and he directed this documentary. It's called Showbiz Kids. It's about basically what it sounds like child actors growing up in Hollywood, growing up with all that fame at a young age. I thought this was a really well done documentary. He interviews some pretty famous people who grew up in Hollywood, like a couple people like Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Wheaton, Evan Rachel Wood, among others. Some who found fame. Todd Bridges too. Some others who found fame at a very young age and the impact it had on their lives. And as well, he interviews like 2 or 3 people who are trying to get their children into the industry. There was a little girl who basically been in so many productions. She's been like Lion King, she's been in School of Rock and some others, and her mother is trying to get her into the showbiz, and so they were just going from audition to audition. And same thing with a mother who's trying to get her little son into the business, and he hadn't booked anything, but they were the same thing. He was going to coaches, practicing, and then going audition to audition. So it was a very interesting look at and what the impact it has on children, the showbiz business, the mentality of it. Because basically they described their experiences as much as like you pretty much spend your whole childhood going from audition to audition, trying to get that 1 in a million chance of landing the big role, and it basically. And how it affects them in this world. And so basically most of these actors, at least the ones, the successful ones, have said that they pretty much had no childhood growing up, that they spent all their time auditioning. Well, they spent half their time going to school, maybe like 4 or 5 hours a day, and then the rest of the time they spent auditioning and rehearsing and going to auditions trying to land a gig. And he said how stressful it was for them to be working at such a young age and having all this pressure of an adult world put on you. And basically you have the pressure of your parents, you have the pressure of your agent, you have pressure from producers. They want a certain look, they want a certain role. And so it really, it's kind of really eye-opening. I mean, I had an idea of how bad Hollywood was on child actors, and the pressure was, but this really kind of opens your eyes, and you see the very much downside of it and how it affected a lot of them. In fact, not only do some child actors not make it as adults, they don't transition, which is like the hardest thing to do in Hollywood, but some people in the press, they got addicted to drugs, alcohol, other things just to cope with the stress and the pressure from being a child actor. And so, unfortunately, some paid the price, some to like a River Phoenix who overdosed. So unfortunately, it does have very much a big dark side to it. That's fame, and I say only very few have been able to transition out from being child actors to being successful adult actors in the industry. So it's a very eye-opening thing, and it is like I said, and also too to juxtapose that with the parents who currently trying to get their children into the industry, and you can kind of see from the children that like yes they want to go to auditions and this thing, but how much of that is really because they want to please their parents and you don't want to disappoint their parents. In fact, one of that boy who was going to auditions, he went to he was with a coach, and his parents were out of the room, and he was like yawning, he was kind of tired. She's like, "Are you really want to do this? Is this something you really want to do, or is it just your parents pushing you?" And he couldn't kind of give a good answer. He's like, "Yeah, I do." And then his parents saying, "Well, if he wants to quit, we'll let him. He just has to say so." But you could tell that the kid kind of didn't want to disappoint his parents. So that there's always the struggle there of what does the child want and what do the parents want. So it's really tough to see that. And always coming from the outside, if for these actors, child actors kind of hit it big. Like they interviewed Henry Thomas from E.T. And what's the name that played Matilda, Mara Wilson. So the question is like, well, you hit it big. You should be grateful. You hit it big. You had your time. You saved money. Now you got money for the rest of your life. And that's true in many cases. If you save well, if you're smart as the young and you've got responsible parents, then you could save well, and you could be set for life, even if you no longer are in this industry when you get older. But unfortunately, that's not always the case, because sometimes people have really bad parents who maybe steal money from their kid, and so the actors, when they not only are they out of a career, but now they have nothing to go get back on, no savings. Because they've been taken advantage of either by the parents or by unscrupulous agents or other people trying to take advantage of them, and that's what almost every person who interviewed said you have to be wary of is people trying to take advantage of you when you become as you become famous as a child, because they know you're naive, and they always struggling to try to take advantage of you, of your name, your fame, and trying to swindle you for your money. So there's so many pitfalls to it, and then of course as well, now with the Me Too movement coming out, they show that there's a huge problem with pedophilia in Hollywood as well, and so child actors are very much taken advantage of in that case. So many pitfalls to being a child actor, and the pressure of having to work when you're very young and not mature yet, not knowing what you want in life. So I found it very eye-opening. So you come, like I said, you come into this attitude of like, oh well, you were famous, you should figure yourself lucky. So many people want where you've been, and in fact, that's one of the many pressures that the kids industry have, is like, well, if you don't do it, somebody else will. There's somebody always wanting your spot. So many up there are starving that want just to do anything for that one opportunity. So that's always the pressure on these kids growing up. And so, just because someone was successful does not necessarily mean, that they're going to be set for the rest of their lives. So, so I found it very insightful, that dichotomy with the actors who now grew up and went through that, and then the little kids who are trying to become famous. I thought this was a really well done documentary. He did a really good exploration of the pitfalls of trying to become famous in Hollywood, especially now with social media, where your life is pretty much exposed 24/7, and there's always people, trolls on there, say horrible things about you if they don't like your movie, if they don't like something about you, if your image, and especially growing up as a kid, how you deal with that, how that affects someone psychologically. I thought that was a really good deep dive into the price of fame in Hollywood for being kids. So overall, well done documentary. It was really fascinating. It's about an hour and a half. It's well going quick, and it deals with a lot of the more well-known people, as well as people trying to come up. So I highly recommend Showbiz Kids on HBO if you have an HBO subscription. And so I highly recommend Showbiz Kids. So once again, everybody, thank you for visiting me today. And once again, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.